scored big this time. Yes, I did. I have Attorney Chareka Gadson here with me. And let me tell you all, I'm going to tell the truth. She didn't come willingly. She's not a glamour girl. She's not a diva. She just likes to help people, and she works really hard. And it took a lot of talking to get her to do this, but she's going to give you all some information that you're going to really, really want to share with our communities. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, please. The show you did with me at your office was our -- show in 2015. And we had more people to call. We had more people to ask questions. And one young lady was just crying on the phone. I talked to her for 30 minutes, and she was crying on the phone saying, tell her thank you. Tell her thank you for that information. And I just want to thank you for sharing that information, because people don't know what you think you know a little bit. Because I just had an accident, and I've done shows on it, but I was trying to remember now, what am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? Let's talk about child support.
Okay. Child support is an area of law that a lot of people get nervous about because they don't really understand.
Women don't get that nervous. We don't get that nervous about it. We start thinking about, it's going to be some extra money. I'm going to have some help with these children. And we don't. We start blowing up balloons.
In other states, maybe, but in Texas, not so much.
Why?
Texas is actually probably one of the more fair states in regards to child support. It's very straightforward, and it's not, the child support is not calculated, the child support isn't calculated using the non-custodial parent full net resources. So in Texas, it caps at the first $7,500. And so here it's based upon a percentage where if you have one child, then you can get 20% of the first $7,500 that an individual makes a month.
I heard that as long as I'm a full-time student in college and not working, I won't have to pay child support. Is that right?
That is false. The financial responsibilities of being a parent don't just stop because you're not working or in school full-time. If you're ordered to pay support and you don't, then you will start to build up child support debt, or what we call arrears. And just like when you don't pay credit cards or other bills, child support arrears accrue interest and can affect your credit. The amount of child support depends on the number of children you have. If you have one child, you'll have to pay 20% of your net income. If you have 2 children, you'll have to pay 25% of your net income. And if you have 3 children, you'll have to pay 30% of your net income. Now, if you have children with more than one partner, it really gets complicated, and it costs a lot more.
So I want you to talk about it from 2 standpoints.
Okay.
Pretend I'm a male.
Okay.
We're pretend I'm a male.
Okay.
And tell me how you can help, and what should I know? What should I know?
Well, one of the things that you should be aware of is that it's important to answer any lawsuits that you are served with, especially with child support, because what happens with non-custodial parents, because sometimes they're mothers and fathers, is that they don't respond, and so the custodial parent will go to court and receive whatever child support that she requests. And you want to have your child support calculated based upon what your income is. So you want to be prepared to show your proof of income. You want to be prepared to bring pay stubs. You want to be prepared to bring your tax returns. And also in Texas, if you are not employed, then they calculate it from minimum wage. And so again, this is a state that I think that is pretty fair when it comes to child support, because they don't expect you to go over and beyond what your income allows.
So my friend got served these papers about child support, but he can't make it to the court date. They won't do anything if he doesn't show up, right?
Well, actually, the court can decide if you, or I guess your friend, is the father, even if he doesn't show up. In fact, by not showing up, you are waiving your right to be heard, and you would be responsible for any child support or any medical support ordered. Some men think that there has to be DNA testing before you can be legally responsible for child support. But the truth is that if you don't show up in court, then the judge can make a decision, DNA testing or not.
Let me ask you this question. Now, if a woman was granted a court order to receive child support but did not receive it, does that money ever go away?
No, that's what we call arrears. In the event that child support is granted, the child support starts to add up until it's paid off. And so over time, the parent can have arrears that they owe, including their current child support. And so you always want to stay on top of your child support. And one of the things that happens often is that the non-custodial parent, the one who pays the child support, does not request a modification when their circumstances change. If your circumstances change and your income is reduced, then you need to let the court know that you need a modification, and so that you can stay up to date on your child support and you're not expected to pay an amount that's beyond what you actually can afford.
Wow. It does sound a little scary, just a little bit.
Well, you know, and that's why you can reach out to an attorney and have them guide you once you explain the facts to them. It's just important to stay on top of it. A lot of times I think people get intimidated by the process and put themselves in positions that are far worse than what they would have been in had they addressed the issue.
So when does it get to a point where the person goes to jail about it?
The individual actually can go to jail on the first time that they miss a payment. The first time that you are in
miss a payment,
you are you have placed yourself in a position to go to jail the minute that you violate the court order. Now, is it likely that a judge will place you in jail at that time? No, it's up to him or her, but understand that the minute that you miss a payment, you're placing yourself in the position to have a judge put you in jail for being in contempt of his court order.
If they're making payments to the mother of their child or the father of their child, how should they do that in order to have the proper record? Because, you know, I watch Judge Judy sometimes.
One of the things that's extremely important in Texas is to understand that if you have a child support order, the money should be given through the proper, through the child support disbursement unit. Any money that you put into the mother or the father's hand for the child is considered a gift. And so to protect yourself and to show that you are abiding by the court order, it's best to pay it directly to the child support disbursement unit.
So are you saying that it's best not to give gifts to your children as well?
What I'm saying...
If you owe and you want to count that as part of the money, don't give it to them in a gift, give it to them through the disbursement.
This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You have to ask yourself, what is it that you are trying to do? If you want to have credit and you do not want to argue with the judge about what you have been doing and you want to have proof, you don't pay it to the mother. Unless the mother is willing to come forward and say, this is the amount of money that I have been provided. But you put that into the mother or the father, the custodial parent's hand when you give money that way, and then you'll be frustrated in court when the judge wants to know, why haven't you made a payment this month? And you say, well, I provided her with this amount of money, and it's up to her to say that's true.
We'll be right back.
I don't live with my child and his mother, but as long as we still get along, isn't it better for me just to give her the money directly rather than deal with the hassle of child support?
That is false. The courts do not recognize informal payments of support to the other parent. Diapers, other items, or even cash can be considered gifts by the court. A parent can be ordered to pay up to 4 years of back, or what we call retroactive support, even if he or she provided informal support. Here are some facts to consider. 1, A court order provides formal documentation of child support ordered so that it is not questioned at a later time. 2, a court order will also include all of the legal rights and responsibilities for both parents. This includes the time the child spends with each parent. And 3, mom or dad can open up a child support case with the Office of the Attorney General.
My head is going, don't you do that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Some of the things that I've seen, I'm aware of a case right now where it's been pretty rough for the father. Has been continuously providing, but hasn't been paying through the child support disbursement unit, and now he's in a place where he has a lot of arrears. And so, how do you prepare to explain to a judge that I've been paying, I just haven't been paying it to you?
We're taking a break. Okay.
My girlfriend just had a baby, and I know I'm the daddy, but somebody at the hospital told me that I wasn't the legal father until I signed some papers. Is that true?
In order to have legal rights, unmarried fathers must first establish paternity, which is just another word for legal fatherhood. Parents can sign an acknowledgement of paternity form or go to court. If there is a possibility that the man is not the biological father, a couple should not sign the form and should consider DNA tests. DNA tests are free when parents open a case through the Office of the Attorney General. Benefits of legal fatherhood include access to the child, rights to know about medical health records, school progress and whereabouts, passing on the family line and name, and the satisfaction of knowing you are fulfilling your duty as a parent.
We talked about child support, but we didn't talk about visitation, and that's so important. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. One of the things that I experienced a lot with child support cases is one of the complaints from the non-custodial parent is that the parent who has the custodial parent refuses to allow the non-custodial parent to see the child according to the schedule. And it's always important to bring that up, but the issue is that it's not proper to bring up when you're there to address child support.
What do you mean it's not proper?
It's not proper because it's not relevant to the issue of child support. A judge is not going to allow you to, is not going to excuse non-payment of child support because the other parent is not allowing you to see the child. It's your responsibility to come to court and address the issue of not being able to see the child, just like the other parent is coming to court to address the issue of you not paying child support. And a lot of times, the parent doesn't understand that. And there are some specific steps that a parent has to take to have their issue heard before the judge.
Wow. Wow. Any more on that visitation?
Absolutely. One of the things that they have to do is file a motion to enforce, which is to enforce the visitation clauses in the court order. They also have to keep documentation of the times that the other parent refused to allow them to have their time with the child according to the court order, and also be on time. If you have a parent who is very strict and is not flexible with the court order, most court orders state that if you all can't agree, then you have to follow this court order. And so if this says that you have to pick the child up from a specific location at 6 p.m., be there. Don't come at 6:30 and be upset that the individual was not wasn't flexible enough for you. You have to show up and allow the other parent to give you access to the child. Once that individual doesn't allow you access to the child, then you have a claim that you could bring before the judge. And just like with child support, you can have your attorney's fees paid. That individual can be held in contempt.
So that thing can get real nasty.
Yes. But a lot of people don't realize that there are consequences that they can subject the other parent to if they keep their child from them.
Wow. I started to ask you a question, and it was kind of like an emotional kind of question, and I was like, no.
Go ahead and ask me.
It gets real nasty to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they come to you and they say she's not working with me, your only thing is to go back to what the law says.
Exactly. Exactly. If an individual chooses not to follow the court order that a judge provided, then it's time to let the judge know and allow the judge to enforce his order. A lot of times people don't take seriously the consequences until they're subjected to them. It's okay for someone to keep you from your child when it's just you and them, but put them in a position where they have to explain it to a judge why they're not encouraging a relationship between the child and the other parent, and why they are not making the child available to the other parent at the designated times, and more than likely their attitude will change.
My ex never pays child support. I don't have to let him see the kids, right?
Sure you do. You might think that money equals time, but when it comes to your kids, the court says they are two very different things. Even if the other parent is not paying the child support like the court order says, you are still responsible for following the times when the other parent is supposed to see or have the child. And the same goes to the parent who is supposed to be paying child support. Just because you are not seeing your child does not mean you can stop paying child support. We all know that kids need emotional and financial support from both parents. So don't put your kids in the middle of your disagreements and turn them into objects that get passed back and forth in exchange for money.
Let me ask you this. Basically, what's the real problem?
It's usually a lack of communication and individuals allowing their personal issues to overshadow the importance of co-parenting. And that's what the court order is for, is it steps in and makes everything black and white and very straightforward. And so you no longer have to question, you no longer have to get agreements with the individual, and you're no longer feeling like you are at the other person's mercy. And that's one of the things that is very difficult for most parents, is feeling like they have to ask the other parent if they can spend time with their child. And that's not fair.
Wow, it's nasty.
That's not fair.
That's nasty. But you can't make the parent come and see the child.
No, you cannot. You can't enforce visitation with a parent in that way. If it's visitation time that they decide to let go, then that's on them. And the point of that is, it's for that individual to foster a relationship and build a relationship with the child. If they feel like that's something that's not important to them, and you can see that from their actions, then that's something they'll have to deal with later on. But in regards to giving them the opportunity, that's what the court's goal is in giving court orders.
So your advice would be?
My advice would be to take advantage of what the judge has allowed in regards to visitation rights and possession and access with your child. If a parent decides to interfere with that, make them be held accountable. Don't just get upset. It's okay to be upset, but pursue the remedies properly. Don't wait until there's an issue with child support and then you want to bring it up. No, bring it up in the district court where it's properly heard. A lot of times people don't realize that they end up in child support court, and they don't realize child support just addresses child support. And so they feel like the judge is not is not listening and not respecting the issues that they have. But really the judge is just, I'm a 4D court judge just for child support. You're going to have to take that issue to the judge in the proper court. And so it's just exercising your remedies and getting the help that you need so that you can continue to build a relationship with your child without unnecessary interference.
Wow. Oof. That was fast. That was fast. That ended. That was cut. Black and white, cut, and over. Mm-hmm. And the children suffer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are the ones who have to suffer when they see the issues happening between their parents. And a lot of times there are even injunctions that prevent the parents from saying disparaging things about the other parent in front of the children, or from being harassing, because it's about protecting the children. Everything is about the best interest of the children.
Wow.
And so if a lot of people kept that in mind, co-parenting would go a lot smoother than what we sometimes see.
I'm glad Jonathan's 25 and he's his own man now. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Choices with Jeanette. I'm Jeanette Harris, and thank you so much for watching Choices with Jeanette. I'm here with Dr. Stacie Peck. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
So you've been giving us tips and trying to help us keep our hair on our head and keep it growing. And we appreciate that so much. And you are a doctor of pharmacy.
Correct.
What does it take to get there?
Well, actually, it's a 6-year process. And what it is, you have 2 years of pre-pharmacy and then 4 years of pharmacy school.
So when did they start calling pharmacists doctors?
It's actually been a recent development. I would say like the mid-90s is when they started the doctoral program.
So, but does that have anything to do with you creating your own product?
Actually, with pharmacy school, we have a course in compounding. And with compounding, they actually teach us how to make things, such as suppositories, pills. But I use the knowledge of compounding to actually create different things in cosmetic science.
So, like a lady in the kitchen or a man in the kitchen cooking, and they decide to make a special recipe, you make recipes with chemicals.
Exactly.
Great. So tell us, I just want you to talk about this. I know we normally talk about your hair and your scalp. Tell me about us people with all of the pills that we're taking. It's astronomical. I just don't want all those pills in my body.
Exactly. And more what I'm seeing is with the with newer medications, a lot of times with the combinations that we take, that leads to hair loss. And people don't realize it.
Wow.
Especially with our blood pressure medications.
Wow. Why is it especially with the blood pressure?
With blood pressure medications, they're designed to actually lower our blood pressure, okay? Well, the thing is, with your body, you're trying to protect the most vital organs. So with those medications, you want to lower the pressure in those areas. Well, it tends to forget the vessels in your scalp. Because it's not an important, as far as your health, it's not an important organ.
Oh, really?
Yes. With diseases especially, when there's a problem with your major organs, it tends to neglect your feet, your hands, your body parts that are not necessary to sustain life. Your body has a mechanism of transferring all the blood to the heart and brain, because that's the most important thing.
The heart and the brain are the most important things.
Yes.
And your feet, your hair.
It's not considered necessary to sustain life. And what I mean is, with diabetics, a lot of times you will see poor circulation in the hands and feet. Also with diabetes, hypertension, and thyroid problems, you will also have problems with your scalp and hair as well. You will see coarseness sometimes, or you will see thinning.
Wow. So that's what women need to make sure that they are cognizant of.
Yes. And also, don't forget new mothers. There's an influx of hormones in the body. There's basically a change of hormones after you deliver a baby. And a lot of new mothers will experience hair loss. But the thing is, over time...
Is that why we get more hair when we're pregnant, so we could have some to lose?
Right.
Okay.
Because you have more blood flow throughout your body. So during the pregnancy, you have really healthy hair. But then once the baby is delivered, the body's like, uh-oh, all those hormones are gone. So the body is confused. Sometimes women experience hair loss.
So what can we do?
Well, the great thing is that this type of hair loss is often reversible. The body will correct itself. But if not, you want to look to different products that helps with regaining the hair.
That might be the most valuable information you've ever given us. I'm serious. That is so valuable. Because you don't know what's going on. You don't have time to worry about that. You got a baby crying.
Exactly.
You don't know where you are. You know, you haven't had sleep. I didn't have sleep for 3 months. I was actually walking in the walls.
Oh, wow.
No, you're tired.
Yes.
You're so tired. And I mean, I said, this is what they mean when they say you walk into walls. That's why I look at Jonathan now and say, Jonathan, anything I say do, you better do it. I've already walked into the walls.
Right.
So, but seriously, that's some valuable information. I thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So what would you tell the pregnant women or the women that have just had because I know you would take the vitamin A when you're pregnant.
Yes.
What would you tell them?
Well, definitely don't panic that this is a normal process, but what I recommend is that you want to use a stimulating shampoo because that helps to stimulate the blood flow in the scalp. You want to also focus on getting a good vitamin to replenish what you've lost. Because a lot of times what people don't realize is after you deliver a baby, everything is out of whack because even some ladies will experience bone loss and tooth loss because the baby was getting the calcium.
You don't know that part. That is so true. I almost said so blanking true. But it is so true because I lost calcium. I was like, Jonathan is sucking all the calcium out of my body.
Exactly.
I haven't caught up with my calcium yet. It's 25 years old.
So yes, that's like I said, I would tell any new mother, it's a normal process. Don't freak out. Just make sure you take care of you, rebuild you in order to get your hair back.
Wow. Wow. That's our pregnant and newborn mothers segment. We thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I'm encouraging you to attend their event on September the 30th over at New Faith. And they're going to have a glorious time. And it's a chance to bring the whole family, the whole family. They're going to have a doctor there. They're going to have educational information there. And vendors are going to be there. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. And it's going to be a time of healing for the whole family.